Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Srimad Bhagavatam 194. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Drishtva Nipatitam Bhuma Divas Chutam Ivamaram Pranemu Pandava Bhishmam Sanugaha Saha Chakrina Drishtva Nipatitam Bhuma Divaschutam Ivamaram Pranemu Pandava Bhishmam Sanuga Sahachakrina Drishtva Nipatitam Bhuma Divaschutam Ivamaram Pranemu Pandava Bhishmam Sanuga Sahachakrina Dristvani Bhumau Divaschutam Ivamaram Pranemu Pandava Bhishmam Saga Sahachakrina
Drishtani Patitam Bhumau
Divashitam Ivamaram
Pranemu Pandava Bhishmam Saga Sahachakrina Drishtani Patitam Bhumau
Dristvani Patitam Bhumau Divaschutam
Ivamaram
Pranemu Pandava Bhishmam
Pranemu Pandava Bhishmam Saga Dristvani Patitam Bhumau Divaschutam Ivamaram Pranemu Pandava Bhishmam Sanuga Sahachakrina Drishtva thus seen Nipatitam lying down Bhumau on the ground Divaha from the sky Chutam fallen Iva like Amaram demigod Pranemuhu bowed down Pandava the sons of Pandu Bhishmam unto Bhishma Sa Anugaha with the younger brothers Saha also with Chakrina the Lord carrying the disc.
carrying the disc.
Seeing him, Bhishma, lying on the ground, like a demigod fallen from the sky, the Pandava king Yudhishthira, along with his younger brothers and Lord Krishna, bowed down before him. Purport. Lord Krishna was also a younger cousin of Maharaj Yudhishthira, as well as the intimate friend of Arjuna. But all the family members of the Pandavas knew Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord, although conscious of his supreme position, always behaved in a humanly custom, and so he also bowed down before the dying Bhishma Dev, as if he were one of the younger brothers of King Yudhishthira. Om Jnana Timirantasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Miditam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Tatati Shapatatikam. Drishtva Nipatitam Bhumau Divaschutam Ivamaram Pranemu Pandava Bhishmam Sanuka Satrakrina. Lord Krishna was playing the part of a human being, and so he exactly followed the human customs. He acted just like the younger cousin of the king, Yudhishthira Maharaj, following behind. We've discussed this yesterday. Dristvani Patitam Bhishma. When they arrived in the presence of Bhishma, they saw him lying on the ground. Nipatitam Bhumo. Divaschutam Ivamara. As if a demigod fallen from the sky. Bhishma was such a great figure. He had that benediction also that he would only die at his own choosing. He was a great warrior, a great devotee, one of the Mahajans. So they saw him lying on the ground, not like an ordinary person. There's so many dogs lying on the ground and so many men lie on the ground. But the figure of Bhishma appeared like a demigod on the ground. The demigods live in the heavenly planets. But it seemed as if a demigod had fallen from the sky and was lying there at Kurukshetra in the form of Bhishma Dev. Ivamaram. The demigods are called Amar, those who don't die. Mara means death, Amara, no death. Because their lifetime is fabulously long. It's as if they lived forever. But they don't. The demigods also have to die. Kshine punye martyulokam vishanti. In the Bhagavad Gita it said that one may go to the heavenly planets as a result of pious activities. But when the pious activities are exhausted, kshine punye martyulokam vishanti. One again has to fall to the earth and continue as a human being, on this planet, that means the demigods also have to die. They're not actually deathless. Nipatitam. They also fall. Of course, here the figure, poetic figure, is as if from the sky a demigod had fallen. But anyway, the demigods do fall, not in this sense, like an object falling from the sky, but they have to descend to this human planet again. So nipatitam, it means fallen. From that point, from another point of view, all the living beings in the material world are fallen, because the natural home of the living being is in the spiritual world. Tasmad, what is that? Parastasmad tu bhavonyo vyakto vyaktat sanatana. Beyond this material sky is the spiritual sky, which is beyond the coming and going of the material nature. Nashatsu navinashati. When everything else is destroyed in this world, that part stays as it is. So that's the real home of the living beings. That's the real residence of every living being. But therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Patitam mam vishame bhavam. Somehow I've fallen into this material existence. Ainanda tanuja kinkara. My constitutional position is Krishna Das, and I'm your eternal servant. That the spiritual world is the home of those who have that mentality, that understanding, that consciousness, Krishna consciousness. Those who are, the whole spiritual world exists in the atmosphere of devotional service. Without having the mood of devotional service, without being purely devoted to the service of Krishna, one can't live in the spiritual sky. Because it's that place, that atmosphere, where the whole purpose of every living being is to serve Krishna. Krishna is the master, and everyone else is servant. Ekala Ishwar Krishna Sapritya. But if one somehow or other wants to enjoy independently, therefore one has to descend to the material world. And then his position is patitam. Patitam mam vishame. I've fallen into the ocean of material existence where everyone is trying to be happy independently. This is the fallen condition. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prays, Kripaya tava pada pankaja stita tuli sadvisham vichintaya. Please lift me up to that healthy condition, to the spiritual condition, and consider me to be just like a particle of dust at your lotus feet. We consider ourselves to be something great in this material world. Great businessmen, great actors, great inventors, great scholars, great poets, great something, great lovers, great heroes, great soldiers. But all of these great, great beings of the material world are little insignificant ants. Even compared to the demigods, what are the great heroes of this earth? Brahma blinks his eye for a moment. So many of those heroes have come and gone. Prabhupada gives the example of those flying insects that you find in Mayapur. They come out at night. Their whole life is at night. They die, and there's heaps of them under there's a lamp. Then you find heaps of these bugs under the lamp, and then you just sweep them away. Well, these are the great Alexanders and Nixons and Trumps and Hitlers and Churchills and Gandhis and so on, all swept away by the material energy. And even the demigods view those of us here as just living for a moment. But from the spiritual point of view, the demigods live for just a moment. Yasyaika nishvasita kalam atavalam yadvivanti loma vilaja jagadandanat. In one breath of Mahavishnu, the Brahma comes and goes. And he lives the entire universe, the life of the universe. So nipatitam, this fallen condition is very difficult, very unhappy. But by the grace of Krishna, if he so desires, he can lift us from this fallen state. Any question? Comment? Something? Krishna is the chakri because he's holding that weapon, chakra, or to defend Arjuna against Bhishma Dev, he picked up the wheel of the chariot. So he's, from that point of view also, his usual weapon is his chakra, Sudarshan chakra. But to protect Arjuna, he picked up the wheel of the chariot. To protect Arjuna and also to satisfy Bhishma Dev. Bhishma Dev took a vow that because that Duryodhana was always, the word is not teasing, insulting really, Bhishma Dev. You're not fighting seriously, you're showing favoritism to the Pandavas, you're going easy on them because they're your pet nephews, grandchildren. So the Bhishma Dev said, no, tomorrow I'll kill them. Only if Krishna fights, then they may be protected, otherwise I'll kill them. So Bhishma Dev attacked Arjuna ferociously. But so Krishna had to pick up his wheel to save Arjuna. And then Bhishma Dev was very satisfied. Yes, Krishna has broken his promise. He's broken his promise. Because Bhaktivinoda, just to, rather than be known as a great moralist, he'd rather keep his position as the protector, friend of his devotees. So Bhishma Dev was very satisfied. And also Bhishma Dev has is in the mood of chivalrous loving exchanges. In chivalrous loving exchanges, fighting is relishable. The fighting is relishable. there's a pleasure in that kind of exchange also. Just like Prabhupada gives the example, the king keeps a wrestler and enjoys fighting with the wrestler. Although it's fighting, it's not the usual kind of service. Usual service is, yes, Your Majesty, no, Your Majesty, if it please Your Majesty. What can I do, Your Majesty? But for the wrestler, it's attacking the king, fighting with the king. But the king enjoys that. That same thing happened in the case of Krishna at Jambavan, where Krishna took the Shamantak jewel from Jambavan's son. Of course, it's a long history how Satyajit had the jewel, and then it was rumored that Krishna had killed him for the sake of getting that jewel. Anyway, finally, Krishna took the jewel and Jambavan attacked him. And fighting was going on, fighting was going on, fighting was going on. And Jambavan was very powerful, but he was starting to wear out. So he was surprised, no one can defeat me. How am I becoming weak? Then he understood that this person that I'm fighting must be my Lord Ramchandra. How did he understand it? He understood it because Krishna was pleased by the fighting. Because Krishna was pleased, by his mercy, Jambavan could understand. What is that? Nayam atma pravachanena lapyo nametaya nabhavana shrutena katupanisha. One can't understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by attending lectures or by being very intelligent, by studying different scriptures. But when the Lord is pleased, then he reveals his own form. So the Jambavan was fighting with Krishna. And so Krishna was pleased. Yes, this fighting is very nice. And then Jambavan, I'm fighting against my Lord. So in this way, it's also another pleasing relationship, pleasing exchange. And Bhishma Dev was in that mood. So it was very pleasing to the Lord and pleasing to Bhishma Dev also when there was this fighting exchange. Krishna had only been playing as the charioteer. Now he took up the role of opponent. So it was very sweet. Shall we stop here? Any last question?
Thank you, Madam. In your class, you explained everything from scripture. You never quoted from outsider stories, but also Prabhupada we saw never quoted outside stories. But nowadays, motivational speakers speak, so we have that temptation to speak. How to control that temptation?
Prabhupada sometimes quoted something outside. Sometimes he quoted, of course, Chanakya Pandit, who's a little outside, but
He quoted Shakespeare.
Shakespeare, Merchant of Venice, Kabir, although not exactly by name, one Hindi poet, it's actually Kabir. Sometimes some outsider reported the newspaper, and so sometimes he would quote, but not very much. The substance is Bhagavatam. And you're right that sometimes these days we hear classes, it's all stuff from the motivational speaker circuit. And that's not our business. Failing to plan is planning to fail. All these nice little jingles from the time management and motivational world. If we want to learn that, we can attend those courses, or someone can give a seminar on that. Those who want to attend can attend to learn about time management, freedom from anxiety, getting things done, motivational, what have you. And there may be some place for that in strategic efforts. But Bhagavatam class is for Bhagavatam. Simple thing. If the Bhagavatam class becomes for motivational speakers aren't quoting Bhagavatam and teaching Bhagavatam, so why should we do their work and teach their stuff in the Bhagavatam class? If we spend the Bhagavatam class talking about those things, then where will the Bhagavatam be? Well, this is Prabhupada's contribution, Srimad Bhagavatam, Avalamapara. And it said, Pibata Bhagavatam, not Pibata Jerry Robbins or any one of these other great motivational speakers. Pibata Bhagavatam, the Vayam tu navatripyam. The sages said we never get tired of hearing of Bhagavatam. And that's time management also. 24 hours a day, one should chant Hare Krishna and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's the supreme motivation also, to serve Krishna. So all of these things. Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamani. Yes. We should keep it pure, otherwise then the brahmacharis start to think that, well, if we want to be good speakers, we have to go hear these motivational people, and we have to learn how to present things the way they present things, and that's how you give a lecture. But Prabhupada's, after all, we're servants of Srila Prabhupada, servants of the Acharyas, and their instruction is just speak Srimad Bhagavatam. Simple. Prabhupada said, cram the purports. Read Srimad Bhagavatam, speak Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita. That's our business, family business, preaching Bhagavatam. And one day the world will wake up and see. It will be, just now Kirtan has become a big popular thing. Maharaj and I were discussing that the other day, how Kirtan has become very popular, almost in spite of us. We were looking for how do we attract people, maybe this way, maybe that way, we could try this, we could try that. And what do people become attracted to? Kirtan. But Kirtan that they've heard someplace else. Because while we were busy looking for some way to attract people, other people were chanting Hare Krishna, and people became attracted. So the same thing, this Bhagavatam will be the next thing. That people will start to realize that this book is amazing. There's so much knowledge here. There's so much, so many interesting histories. There's so much, there's everything you want. There's adventure, there's love, there's philosophy, there's wisdom. People will start to want to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, but they'll go hear from the people who are reciting it, because we'll be busy talking about motivation and time management and freedom from anxiety and all of this kind of stuff. So my prediction is Bhagavatam, if you just speak Bhagavatam, it will attract. The crows may not be attracted, but the swans will be attracted. And after all, we want to attract swans. And the crows will become swans just to get in. You know, just like if you want to get into some high-class establishment, then you have to put on a suit and a tie so that you can get in. Even the crows, you know, they'll want to become swans so that they can attend the Bhagavatam class.
Yeah, Bhagavatam actually has become popular in Vrindavan now. All these guys are giving Bhagavad Saptaha. But you know, I mean, they are not giving Prabhupada's Bhagavatam. Like, it's unfortunate, it's because of ISKCON that these Bhagavad Saptahas and Bhagavad speakers have become so popular. I mean, you just go to Vrindavan, you see all over,
Yeah.
you know. There are, and the thing is that, but the point is that they don't become devotees after hearing them.
In New Vrindavan one year, Prabhupada gave a series of what he called Bhagavad Dharma discourses, just speaking on Srimad Bhagavatam. And the New York Times came and others came. And Prabhupada said later, he said, our sannyasis should do this, they should travel and deliver these Bhagavad Dharma discourses. Yes.
And also about the motivational speakers, you know, like at least about Gaur Gopal Prabhu. You know, he dresses like a devotee, tilak and all. So, you know, people get to see that he's ISKCON devotee. I mean, that somehow, some preaching is going on that way.
Yeah, therefore, as a strategy going out, if you want to do this or that, that's a different thing. But our Bhagavatam classes should be Bhagavatam.
Oh yeah, right.
Some
Another
other
point I was thinking of, you know, like you heard about the mellow of chivalry. It's something like two tennis players, you know.
Like?
Two tennis players get to the court and, you know, play, trying to figure out who can defeat who. So chivalry, mellow of chivalry is something like that. The Kshatriyas derive the joy fighting, which is like a game to them.
Even Alexander, he had his nemesis, his opponent, was, trying to remember his name, Cyrus maybe? He was a big king. And they were always, you know, at odds with one another, just like the way it was for so many years. It was the Americans against the Russians. So it was Cyrus against Alexander. Cyrus. And then Cyrus was killed. Maybe Alexander was responsible. Cyrus was killed. And Alexander wept. Where will I get an opponent like this?
Who was that?
Alexander.
And?
I think it was Cyrus. I've forgotten. Don't rely on me. We'll have to look it up. But he had a constant opponent. I think it was Cyrus. I've forgotten. Persian king, if I remember. And you know, that was his, they were equally matched. But then Alexander, where will I get another such opponent?
Yeah, that's true. Like the Kshatriyas, when they fight to kill.
They fight to kill.
Darius?
Darius, huh?
Oh, okay, Darius.
Darius, not
Persian.
Cyrus. Persian, yeah, Darius, thank you. Glories of the telephone. Yeah, Darius. Where will I get another such opponent?
Did Alexander kill him?
You have to ask the authority.
As far as I know, he defeated him. And Darius actually came to the battle with his mother and wife.
Well, that's another story. In the course of battle, this king, if it was Darius, had his mother was like the most beautiful woman. She was his wife. His wife was like the most beautiful woman, just gorgeous. Just anything you could want in beauty from a woman, that was his wife. And the daughter was equally beautiful. And in the course of battle, they were captured. And Alexander gave orders that they should be treated in such a way that they would feel that they'd not left the protection of the king, of the husband, the father. They should not be treated with any indignity, any insult, what to speak of any attempt to take advantage of them. So that was the order, that they should feel as much at home as if they were in their own kingdom. And no one should touch either of them on pain of death. And Alexander himself followed the same principle. Our modern leaders, if they get a secretary, they want to go to bed with her. But here's Alexander and the most beautiful women in the world, and they shouldn't even be touched.
Well, as far as my history
As far as outside stories, here we go. Yes.
like, actually, Darius was so confident of winning the battle. He considered that Alexander just a kid.
Mm.
And so he was so confident about winning the battle. So he took his mother and wife and children, as if going out on an excursion, But, Alexander's trick was, his attacking strategy was completely beyond his. Although he has a much larger army, he ran away. And as you said, his mother and wife were in captivity. Right? So he wanted to give any amount of wealth. He made a thing that I'll give you so much wealth, you release them. So Alexander's response was, I don't need any wealth. You just come and surrender them to me. So he was a very noble man, actually. Like also Porus, when he defeated him, again in a strategic, in a unscrupulous way, like attack from behind, which is not, a strategic done thing. So when Porus was brought to him, so he asked him, what kind of treatment do you expect from me? And Porus's response was, just as a king gets a treatment from another king.
Yeah. Prabhupada has quoted that.
Yeah.
How do you want to be treated? Like a king.
And Alexander treated him like that.
Yeah.
Also. He gave his kingdom back.
Prabhupada also quoted about the thief who was captured by Alexander.
Oh yeah, you were a thief.
Why are you punishing me? I'm only a little thief, you're a big thief. And Alexander accepted, yes, I'm a big thief. Let him go. So, of course, this is all Alexander the Great Kata, but when Alexander was so great, then how great was Bhishma Dev? And how great was Krishna? There are millions of Alexanders who come and go, but you won't find, where will we find someone like Bhishma? And finally, there's no one like Krishna. All right. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Krishna. Darius.